I genuinely have a hard time taking this seriously. Donald Trump is trying to convince Americans that we should be focusing on the idea that aliens exist, then the economy, the wars that he's waging, the places that he's sending our tax dollars, or even the ways he's using the federal government to attack his enemies politically. This is what it looks like for the world's most powerful nation to fall into the clutches of fascism, and for the people to be actively brainwashed enough, or at least among those that are trying to push fascism upon the people, trying to brainwash enough people to get them to buy into the most insane, obvious lies ever. That is what we're seeing happening right now. Over the last few weeks, Donald Trump has been trying to distract from all of his failures and broken promises, as well as just embarrassing, awful moments, by using aliens. Conspiracy theorists have always loved aliens. Anytime you can get them on board with some UFO spotting or, oh, the federal government is backing up this one, though, they're so primed to jump on it. And Trump knows this. He uses it as a distraction. And now he's evolved this new method he's been using into something even more disgusting. He's not just using it to distract from the Epstein files or his many failings anymore. He is now trying to use it to dehumanize all immigrants in the most mask-off, blatant way imaginable. The only part of it that isn't mask-off is the fact that he's using alien as an extraterrestrial alien aesthetic and implying he's talking about extraterrestrials in the rhetoric we're about to cover here, when now we know he's talking about immigrants. It truly is disgusting. And now we have to watch The Hill on The Hill's Rising show, the right and left wing hosts debate on this issue. Now, to be fair, I haven't watched The Hill in a while, so maybe their new hosts are actually left and right wing respectively, but in the past, they have had a problematic history of not representing the left and right perspectives. Like, you've got a fascist on one side and then like a tanky on the other side is usually how Rising goes. But let's see. Let's see what they've got to offer on their coverage and debate on this issue today. Yeah, I'm very curious what kind of sauce they're going to bring to the table. Also, let me stop the music. There we go. Let's get into it, shall we?
The White House launched a website about, quote, aliens Thursday, but not the extraterrestrial kinds you might be thinking about.
The site is actually a live map tracking the arrest of immigrants unauthorized to live in the United States. The website reads, quote, President Trump was the first to call out the real danger aliens pose to American families, every community, and the future of our nation.
Now, this comes 2 months after the White
Like, there's no way that Trump supporters buy this, right? That they enjoy or respect this, that they feel respected by this. If you're an alien UFO conspiracy theorist, this has to feel like the biggest rug pull cock tease of all time. And if you're anti-immigration, you probably feel not so great that Donald Trump is having to use innuendo and euphemism in order to push for anti-immigrant rhetoric when he's in power. He has all the branches of government. You know, a lot of really racist Trump supporters are mad at him right now because their big question is, what is stopping Trump from just doing mass deportations? And when they say mass deportations, they mean like the military going door to door, searching houses, basements, and attics for anyone who's too brown to be deported immediately. Like, that is what they were expecting when they voted for Trump. That's what they feel like they were promised. And a lot of them are disappointed that that's not what has been delivered.
White House drew intrigue for registering the domain name Aliens.gov, with many suspecting it could be related to Trump's push to release documents related to UFOs and extraterrestrial life. But as we found out, it is not. It has to do with this.
I mean, what a play by the White House, though, because there was already the conversation around UFOs and the release. And so then they registered that domain and it got picked up and triggered.
There was already the conversation. I mean, technically there was a conversation around it because every once in a while the UFO grifters will like find some video of an object that's still that is being recorded by a jet that is going like ridiculously fast. And so when you record it, it looks like the thing is hovering in a somewhat impossible way in relation to the jet. and we've got like actual military videos of this, and you'll get like, oh, look at this pill that is impossibly hovering over the water, moving at impossible speeds. And then turns out, no, it's not a UFO. It's not an object moving at impossible speeds. It's just, it's literally basic perspective. You know, stuff like that has been grifted off of to hell and back, and anytime they can lend some legitimacy to it with the military saw it. This is from the federal government. It gets so many clicks. And so Trump was trying to weaponize that himself, like as the president.
And so they got that first wave of stories, and now they're using it, I believe, as a messaging mechanism to get back on immigration and immigration enforcement and closing the border, trying to show folks again, hey, look, we're really...
Listen, guys, you will never be able to convince me that there is an alien race that could make any sort of object that could make it here, and we would be able to detect it. It would never crash. We could never shoot it down. It wouldn't put off heat that we could see. It wouldn't show up on radar. They would be ghosts if they were here. They would be utter ghosts. No government would be aware of their presence if they were capable of crossing the expanse to make it here in the first place. The level of technological advancement necessary just to do that would put them on, like, they would be gods to us, okay? I do not believe we've got any gray men in a military facility that crash landed here like fucking Crypto in Destroy All Humans, all right? That has not happened.
Doing the things, but they're doing it without the cameras on, right? The way they were in Minnesota, which caused a lot of the pushback and some of the softening in the president approval rating, right? Yeah. All of it ties together. So listen, this is an earned media play by the administration. This is them looking for a headline yet again about immigration, about illegal immigration, and about getting criminal illegal immigrants out of the United States, which...
Criminal illegal immigrants. Okay, keep in mind, by the way, if you're an illegal immigrant and you commit a crime and you get arrested, do you know what the penalty for that is? Deportation. Always has been. So when they say criminal illegal immigrants, what they're talking about is criminalizing illegal immigration, as in making illegally immigrating in and of itself a serious criminal offense worth pursuing. Now, keep in mind that might sound reasonable on its face, but who decides what is and isn't legal immigration? You're putting the decision as to what is and isn't legal immigration anymore into the hands of the people that want to very much restrict who can and can't come into this country. Now, more reasonable people who just think that we need to have some kind of border. That's a very common statement you'll hear from Americans. Like, I'm not all for the whole lock it down thing, but we need some kind of border. You hear that often, right? So the idea of some immigration limitations, that's an easy way to sell people on a party that is going to go way further with it than what those people were signing up for when they voted for that party. And that's what I think a lot of people are learning right now with the fuck around, find out cycle. They voted just to see what would hopefully be a reduction in crime they were promised would happen if you got the worst of the worst that snuck into America, you know, the terrorists and the cartel guys and stuff, and the people who've got a history of bad mental health. You know, they thought that getting the worst of the worst out was Trump's goal. They didn't realize it was literally going to be like the Gestapo blackbagging anyone whose skin is too brown. Like, I don't think most people voted for that, even if they voted on the issue of limiting immigration. Because the popular sentiment has always been more legal immigration, right? Like, that's always been what these people, you know, the more moderate of these people, which is the majority of them, have always said.
When you poll, usually is an 80-20 issue in the United States.
So immigration usually isn't a winning issue for Republicans. And so when they started to lose some of the Americans that watched what happened in Minnesota, rightfully so, people looked at that and said, that's not the type of immigration we were asking for when we said Joe Biden needs to go. We'd like something different. This is not what we were looking for. The polling showed that. And so the president is now trying to regather the people that really wanted reform.
Trump's too radical for most people and not radical enough for the insane niche that he's captured. Like, he's not pleasing his most radical fans, and he's going too far because he's not going far enough, and he's going too far for like normies to fuck with.
And trying to do it in a clever way that gets attention and also gets a lot of critique. So then Democrats will blow up about it, and then Republicans will support the actual messages and numbers that are in the actual website. I just think when you watch, and I want to play this video of kind of how they're promoting it. So can we just play a video of this UFO deporting someone?
Yeah, they posted this on Twitter. The White House.
So to me, I mean,
like, okay, we live in clown world now. Can we agree? Like, this was a Nazi meme from like 2018, 2019 about how like the existence of gay and trans people meant we lived in a clown world now, a world run by clowns. But like, bro, we live in clown world now. Like, this is what real clown world looks like, dude. We're living it now. You best start believing in clown world, because you're living in one.
I understand what they're trying to do, but because immigrants have been dehumanized for so long, and because we have made it a process of dehumanizing, even right now this week with launching this in New York, in New Jersey specifically, there's that Delaney facility that's housing migrants, and they're actually on.
What the heck is that? You are using a computer, Jibacoma. Please, we can't derail the whole segment just so I can explain. Come on. Just so I can explain Clown World. No, we gotta stay on task, okay? My ADHD brain can't handle it.
Hunger strike right now and not eating, reportedly, according to their lawyers, saying that they have been mistreated. I know a representative had access there and listed out all the things that he saw, from a mom not able to see her 4-month-old to woman eating food with
the
worms
video.
in it.
Okay, my bad, Jibacoma. I thought you were talking about Clown World. My bad. Maybe that's just the delay. I forgot that there's not a real-time response from you guys, as if I was having a conversation. Silly me. That 3-second delay is still a delay. You know, there's a bit there. Anyway, yeah, that AI video, absolute slop, and just a perfect... just, like, how can you say we don't live in a clown world when that's the kind of shit the White House is posting? The White House is posting AI slop. We live in a clown world now. Everything is a joke. Everybody is 12.
The governor was barred from going there, and there are protests there. And so migrants that are...
I will say, though, okay, I don't want to get too doomer about it, because I will say there has been a trend lately of a lot of young people talking about, in recent, like, months, starting to realize that things like Andrew Tate, Red Pill, conservative politics in general, the anti-woke stuff is stupid. There have been some people telling stories about how, like, when they were 15, 16 years old, like a few years back, they were Andrew Tate fans, and now they, like, in the last few months, they've seen the light, so to speak. So it does kind of feel like we're starting to enter an era very similar to what happened after Trump won the first time, where a lot of the people who were all on board the Trump train and thought the left had just gone too far and they just loved that Trump triggered the right people started to realize how bad of a mindset that was for engaging with something as serious as politics. It happened like a decade ago, and it seems like it's happening again, at least from what I'm seeing. Granted, algorithms show you what you want to see.
Even held in some kind of confinement at this point also have constitutional rights for due process and to be treated properly and like human. And I think the messaging of watching a UFO pick up somebody over the border as if they're not human all of a sudden, and as if they don't have the same rights if they're in the country for due process, is disturbing, specifically at a time where we've watched the immigration reform that the president has instituted in places like Minnesota be hit with so much criticism across the aisle, and then what's happening actively this week in New Jersey.
It's not that deep.
Guys, I forgot to eat today. Common ADHD occurrence, happens to the best of us. And my stomach is roaring like a fucking lion. So if you hear it, then I apologize. Hopefully my mic doesn't pick it up. But you might hear some real stomach groaning, because it's mad at me. My stomach is like, it sounds like a wild coyote, and I'm like taking its food away, and it's pissed.
That is a GIF video, meme style video of a silly, it's silly season. It's a UFO taking an illegal alien and removing them from the country. It's not about dehumanization. They're not exploding them into little bits and making it rain confetti. No, they're just moving them. It's silly. It's a great play on their Alien.gov. Again, messaging. This is just proactive messaging from the White House on this. And the reason Mikey Sherrill couldn't...
Yeah, we've got a real... Every time we watch Rising, they've got some, they've always got the dick rider for the Trump administration. They've always got the, right-wing dick rider for the Trump administration sweeping for just the most insane shit imaginable. Could you imagine if the Democrats did it, Dude, Obama wore a tan suit and Republicans went ape shit over it on Fox News for, almost a week. You know, Obama ordered Dijon mustard, and that was a thing. Joe Biden slurred his speech a few times, and they managed to make that into a big deal. Genuinely imagine you go to work, and, if you slur a word on accident, it gets clipped. And now the for the next week, it's headline news. And people are trying to like diagnose you off of you like stuttering and slurring a word. Like, think about how often you slur a word speaking on a daily basis, and now Fox News is trying to figure out if your brain is melting because you slurred a single word. Like, that is the kind of treatment Democrats get. But here's the sweeping that the Republicans get treated to.
Get in was because she did not request access the way you're supposed to. This administration has said if you'd like to tour the facilities and do oversight, you need to be able to like ask for it. You can't just show up and try to bum rush in. This is a holding facility for
show up and try to bum rush in. What she's talking about, by the way, is the asylum seeker program, which is a program for legal immigration that Trump is trying to, or is successfully trying to make into a form of illegal immigration. So the whole method of the Trump administration is say, we only want to get rid of the illegals and then make all immigration illegal and pretend like that's not the plan right up until they do it.
Criminally legal immigrants in this country. Some will stay, but most of those folks will be going to the country that they're supposed to be in, which is not the United States. That is a jail facility. It is a holding facility. And so for Democrats continuing to try to bum rush the gates and try to get in there, you want to talk about dehumanization? It was the
bum rush the gates. What are you talking about? The Republicans hold the majority of power. Where are the Democrats doing this awful shit? Where do they have the power to do this awful shit? The Republicans are literally joining the Democrats in votes in order to get things done that are anti-Trump. Like, there is a schism among Republicans to join with the Democrats to give them a majority on certain votes that this has happened.
Leftist Democrats outside Newark who were cheering when two brown-skinned men walked out behind the gates and were going to their cars because they thought they were illegals getting released. That racism they saw was two workers at the New Jersey facility coming out. So if we want to talk about dehumanization, Democrats, especially the ones outside that Newark facility, are standing there applauding the American workers who were coming out because they saw the color of their skin and thought that those were illegal immigrants who were now free. That is ridiculous. And so what I'm not going to...
The left is the secret racists, as it turns out. I love this, by the way. Like, the left are the real racists because when they saw that a holding facility where the Gestapo was like rounding up the brown people and keeping them in cages, when there was a court order to have them released, and those people that were there to like celebrate that those people were being released saw that people of color were walking out of the building and they didn't know who the people that were being held there looked like. They clapped, just assuming they were the people being held there. It's like, haha, got you, racist. You assumed that they were illegals. It's like, so they're the real racists, even though they're there to celebrate the release of people that are being held simply because they're from another place and we've got a racist government. The people calling for them to be freed are the real racists. You hit the nail on the head. You really got them, bro. This is how Republicans operate, by the way. A series of gotchas. Like, oh, everything you do is to fight to make the world a less racist place? Well, one time, you mistakenly did a microaggression. Looks like you're the real racist after all. Meanwhile, like, I guarantee you, if you ask this lady, what is your opinion on white comedians saying the N-word? Oh my God, this lady would go she would write a treatise. She would write like something akin to like Pliny the Elder's first encyclopedia level treatise on why it's okay for white comedians to say the N-word. But the Democrats, lefties, are the real racists for insert gotcha moment here.
Here is a dehumanization argument about this because Democrats do it themselves in real time. If I was those people, that was incredibly offensive. All I'm doing is walking out of the gate. And the ICE agents there were actually laughing because they're like, this is how stupid this has become. So Democrats, you want to do oversight. You want to get into this facility. It's clear oversight opportunities exist if people are going into these facilities to see their clients. Okay, do it the right way. Do it the way that works. The president is yet again driving a message on offense about something that generally polls well for Republicans.
I love how every like conservative Republican MAGA bootlicking conservative like female figure has to like, they either have to look exactly like Pam Bondi or they have to look exactly like Erica Kirk. There's no in between. You have to be a Pam Bondi or you have to be an Erica Kirk. Those are your options. That's what you got to be. Those are the archetypes of conservative women. Now, I will tell you this. I have dated enough women that I have an understanding of how makeup works. These conservative female pundits do their makeup in a certain way that is always the same. One of them that I had pointed out to me by a girl I know is this, like, shading that they always do. Like, even Anna Kasparian started doing her makeup like this, and this, like, particular, like, it's like some kind of smoky effect on like the eyes that's like not the same as like normal eyeshadow. It's like a specific trend among conservative women that's meant to look like, it's makeup that's meant to look like there's no makeup. And it's a very like specific intentional choice. All right, like women don't just like trip in the morning and their makeup is on. It's a very intense and like, you know, practiced thing. So yeah, I had that pointed out to me, and now I can't unsee it.
Dehumanization outside what I've seen from Democrats.
And oh my God, and you always have these like dick-riding conservative pundits always going, the president, the president, the president. They never call him Trump. They never, like, they'll always refer to Biden as Biden. They always refer to Obama as Obama or Kamala as Kamala. But in the case of Vance or Trump, it's the vice president, the president. Always referred to with the utmost respect of their station, and their, like, you know, it's very clear how much they don't even want to risk a clip of them sounding disrespectful towards Trump ending up on his desk, and any future coattail riding opportunities being barred off from them. Their entire careers are dedicated towards maybe being noticed by and impressing Donald Trump. He is their God Emperor, dude. It used to be called Fox News Barbie.
We saw two brown people walk out of a facility and said, congratulations, folks, you did it, without ever acknowledging the ignorance of the fact that they were dehumanizing them by doing that.
So I don't know about the story, and I don't know about all the thoughts of the people cheering or what the ICE officer said, so I can't comment on that.
Put her in her place.
I think, like, with Mikey Sherrill, if you go to the Delaney facility and you give a heads up for people that said they were, I mean, people said they weren't mistreating people in any way. There's a hunger strike going on, but no one in the facility seems to know what any of the migrants that are detained are talking about. And that's the messaging we're getting from the federal government. Well,
that's not what I heard from Tom Homan, though, because Tom Homan said that these people are on a hunger strike right now because they're not being fed the food that they would want when they're in their communities back home, and they're demanding.
Tom Homan would never lie. True. I love how, like, Tom Homan's excuse is, nah, you see, these human beings that we are keeping in cages, they're hunger striking because they're picky eaters. Like talking about like a kid who would rather not have dinner than eat like vegetables. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. We're not fucking buying this, all right? We know how American prisons work, all right? When there is massive injustice, the prisoners will literally coordinate and do a hunger strike because it is the only way. It is literally the final resort, is like is the prison being like, okay, well, we can't just have them drop dead of hunger. That is like their final resort when trying to see some kind of bargaining power, like just to have something done for them. I remember I heard a story on a podcast. It was like an ex-felon story, a guy who had been to prison and was talking about like his experience going through prison, and he talked about how they had done a hunger strike weeks before he got there to get a water cooler. Before that, they just had tap water, like lukewarm tap water, that they would get from the faucets in their cells and in the bathroom, and they had to, or they could buy water off of the commissary, which cost money that they made at their underpaid jobs in the prison, and they hunger strike to get a water cooler so they could just have free cold water whenever they wanted. That is the kind of basic fundamental rights and necessities that in American prisons and jails, American prisoners are hunger striking to get. So yeah, I do not buy Tom Homan's excuse that the migrants, who are real human beings they're keeping in cages, are hunger striking because they're picky. I don't fucking buy it.
A certain type of food, and Tom Homan says, hey, that's fine, that's great. We serve what we serve here for the people who need it, if there's allergies or otherwise, and if you want a different type of food that you get fed at home, you can take the plane ticket to go home.
Well,
Yeah, I don't fucking buy it.
They're saying there's worms in their food. I don't know what to say. So we can believe one or the other, but if
Yeah.
you're dehumanizing folks to
If
say
there
that
are
you're not
worms in
going to
the food,
take,
that's a big
that's a big
issue.
problem. So that
If there are worms in the food, that's a big issue. The hedging. I love the hedging because when you're a grifter, you always have to hedge. Just hedge, 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 just in case you get gotcha'd. Because when you're a grifter, you build your entire career on this foundation that you're impeccable. You're always right. You're the most reasonable. You're the only one who's a reliable truth teller. And this means you can never, ever let your reputation as like an always correct, like ultimate, like knowledge lord ever be tarnished. If people ever see that reputation, like if they ever see their god bleed, when you try to sell yourself as a god, you can never let people see you bleed. And grifters all try to sell themselves as gods. A really good example of this is Asmongold. Asmongold tries to sell himself as this like political god figure, and he can't let his audience see him, or more so, his political positions bleed. He cannot platform anyone that would debate him and actually destroy his position, of which there are many that would. That's why he refuses to host debates on his show. He won't debate anybody, and that's like his open public position. Hassan's pretty similar. He won't debate a particular person he knows has a history of destroying him. He has an open policy of not debating that person. So yeah, it's literally like a lot of these big public figures that sell their brand as like perfect, as like the big brain guy that everyone hates for no reason. When that's like your brand, and you're like the sole truth teller among liars and whatnot, like you can't ever let people see you bleed. And so these people will hedge. They will refuse to debate or engage with the opposition. It's you're seeing it right here. She's hedging right now. Like, if there is worms in the food, because she doesn't want to say there aren't worms in the food, because she probably knows there are, or knows that there probably were worms in the food, and she doesn't want to get clips saying, that's a lie. And then a week later, oh, it's the truth. And then maybe some people who are reasonable find out that she's not always right. A really good example of the effect that would have on people is, have you ever really liked a figure? And this figure always speaks with authority. They're never willing to like, they always push themselves as like a very high position of authority. Like, if you're dumb and wrong if you disagree, full stop, right? They can never be wrong. Have you ever seen a figure like this, and then you take what they say at face value, but then they talk very confidently about a subject that is your area of expertise, and they're just so wrong about it that you lose a certain level of respect for them that you wouldn't have lost if they were just like, yeah, I don't really know much about this, but this is what I think is the case. Like, you wouldn't like if they didn't try to build their whole brand on being right all the time, them being wrong about something they're wrong about wouldn't be a big deal. But they build their brand on being right all the time, so it shatters the illusion. There are a lot of memes and a lot of posts about that exact experience. Vosh about 150 things. I mean, listen, the big criticism I have of Vosh these days is his folder.
But
all I'm saying is
one
that
person
Americans
reporting
can
on
support immigration reform, but also reject anything that kind of creates a caricature or something that makes it easy to laugh at or mock human beings. And so you could say it's not that deep, but we often have times where the president uses memes and inappropriate language, colorful language to describe situations that require some type of empathy and sensitivity. And there are people that are actually in this Delaney facility that were on their way to citizenship with green cards, and we're arguing that we're trying to get criminal aliens out of the country, people that are murderers, and things that the president went on the campaign trail and said. But then we have people that were on the path to citizenship, working jobs, about to graduate high school, according to Andy Kim, that are literally like, can I just go to my graduation day? What did I do? Literally children of people that were here that are now in detention centers because they're 18.
Yep.
And also with the part that why I think it's really not funny to make videos is because CNN reports that nearly 50 ICE detainees have died nationwide while in custody under the Trump administration's policies. That means they didn't even see due process. They just died. And so we don't have all that information.
You don't know how those people died. You don't.
I knew it. I knew she was going to be like, they might have died of old age. That's irrelevant, by the way. These are people who are rounded up, put in cages, waiting for due process, waiting for their day in court, and that was where they died. These ICE arrests are leading to people seeing their final days in cages. That is the point of what she just said. You can try to derive from that like maybe there's bad conditions and that's what's causing these deaths. It's a little worrying that many people have died. But on its face, the fact that they died in these cages is itself a tragedy and a horrific thing to try and defend.
Know if there were underlying
demonic
conditions. You don't know if it was suicide. There's not a breakdown in those numbers. What were the numbers?
We're understanding that people in Delaney are complaining about getting proper care. One of the people that Andy Kim discussed had cancer and said hadn't had treatment in weeks or had access to treatment. So if one person is saying worms and no treatment and the governor just wants to go see for themselves, I think that is something that...
I was so shocked when I found out about Vosh being a weirdo, I completely stopped watching him after that. Yeah, like, I can look past, like, weird kinks as long as it's, nothing like bad, but I draw the line at, like, bestiality and lolicon, pedo shit, right? Like, that bestiality and pedo shit, that's where I draw the line.
We need to, but if the right way means the president and the team clean up their mess before the governor comes in.
But if it's cleaned up, though,
it has to be consistent. It can't be clean because the cameras are there.
Well, don't California Democrats love that? Hasn't Gavin Newsom done that time and again? Where in LA, Karen Bass, them, when they have something big coming in town, dignitaries, all of a sudden the homeless are off the street. Boom, things get cleaned up, and then they're back.
I don't think that's a solution, though. So you'll never hear me saying like, if Democrats are doing something wrong, it's right because it's Democrat. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say that. Yeah. And so I don't think that Delaney's facility should exist in a form if the report...
You'll notice that Vote Blue No Matter Who people never say like, oh, this is fine when the Democrats do something bad. It's like, yes, this is bad. And we want the Democrats to be better, but you shouldn't just not vote for them because of this. Like, it doesn't, like, Vote Blue No Matter Who means you vote to keep the red fascists out of power at all costs, because the red party is the fascist party in America. The Democrats do not even come close. They just don't. You gotta keep the red fascist party out of power in America. It's as simple as that. As few seats occupied by them as possible is a win. When it comes to reforming the Democratic Party, or even leading to its political end in exchange for an even better, more progressive party, that's the kind of conversation that needs to be had when fascism is not winning. When fascism is not, like, you can't have leftism and fascism coexist. They can't. Every time fascism has ever won, up till now, it has led to the genocide of leftists. Every time. Every time. Mussolini genocided communists and leftists. Hitler genocided communists and leftists. And, like, fucking, there was another there was another one that was in, like, I think it was fuck, why am I blanking? My history knowledge is blanking on me right now. This is what I get for waking up at 6 a.m. Anyway, though, like, you can't have fascism and communism or leftism in general coexist. The fascists will kill you first. They will kill you before they kill the liberals. The liberals they do admittedly see as less of a severe threat, but that's not because leftism is more effective. It's because they're more ideologically polarized to leftism. The far right hates leftism because it's the far left. So it's them that get it worse and first when fascism takes power. In fact, fascists will use leftists to gain power and then immediately turn their backs or turn on them and stab them in the back. So, yeah, this is why I don't... Anyway, this alien shit is insane. There was a new post as well, if I'm not mistaken, that was like very emblematic of exactly the demonic state of politics that we're in right now. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. So, this was posted on the Aliens.gov website, which the Trump administration has now purchased the domain to and now runs. And this is what they posted today.
For 60 years, the U.S. government has kept a closely guarded secret. Aliens have been walking among us, living in our neighborhoods, and interacting with us in our daily lives. They've stopped in the same stores, attended the same classes as our children, and lived seemingly normal human existences. With one exception, they do not belong here. If you've witnessed an alien abduction, do not be alarmed. The alien is in good hands. We will take care of it and return it safely to its place of origin. Report suspicious aliens at the ICE tip line. They weren't little green men. These aliens are the millions of illegals who invaded our country under the cover of darkness. President Trump told the truth. The cover-up is over. Secure the border. Deport them all.
Yeah, it was just full-on Nazi shit. Like, I love how the unveiling that the plan for the Trump administration is full, like, white ethno-state, like, ethnic genocide. I like that the reveal that is the plan of the Trump administration is done through this, like, LARPy, cringe as fuck, clown world ass, fake alien disclosure thing, where he tries to, like, bait all of the conspiracy theorists and UFO guys into thinking we're finally going to get aliens revealed. Oh, it's just racism? Always has been. Always has been. Anyway, folks, never forget, left is best, right is always wrong, and fuck these people. That's pretty much it.